In this video, I'm going to tell Defi some of the new things I find in the Blood of Baal Psychic Awakening book.
We play and call it work.
MiniWarGaming Dave here from MiniWarGaming.com. If you're looking for an in-depth review of the new Blood of Baal Psychic Awakening book, then look somewhere else, because this is not an in-depth review. This is just me telling Defi some of the new things I find in the book. But before we do that, we gotta subscribe. We gotta encourage people to subscribe. In fact, we're gonna threaten you. If people don't subscribe, I'm gonna drop it. I'm just kidding. I would never do. Whoa! It's just a scratch. Come on, this has happened before. Okay, it hasn't really happened before, but... In the new Psychic Awakening Blood of Baal book, there's 79 pages. Out of the 79 pages, we got 37 pages dedicated to Blood Angels.
It's time to have a red feast. When the Great Devourer turned its galaxy-spanning hunger to the Imperial star system scattered throughout the Red Scar, the Blood Angels stood in their path.
It's not the kind of scar you get in battle. It actually is made up of thousands of stars and it looks like spilled blood because of the gas that surrounds it, and that's the way they describe it.
The tendril of High Fleet Leviathan wound its way through and around the Red Scar.
Was but a single proboscis of the Gestalt organism that emerged from the intergalactic void. Nonetheless, it consisted of the greatest number of hive ships the Imperium had ever recorded. Look at that, it's right there. They look like tendrils in space. One of these tendrils would later be named the Cryptoid Tendril. Yeah, it's true, there were countless territories threatened by the Tyranids, but for some reason, Cryptis was important. Why was this so important to you guys? Oh, it was important to the humans for the advanced solar energy arrays and the refined promethium. Makes more sense. So what does the Imperium do? They send in a bunch of guardsmen, even a mission of Battle Sisters, but they were all sacrificed and all those worlds were overtaken by the Tyranids anyway. The distress call from Cryptis reached Baal, the home world of the Blood Angels, and Commander Dante, chapter master of the Blood Angels, already knew of it because let's face it, he's a chapter master. He's supposed to know these things.
On Cryptis, the Blood Angels fought wave after wave of Tyranids.
It was then that the war upon the Shield Worlds woke their ancient inhabitants. The Necrons. You guys were making so much noise that you woke up the Necrons. The Imperium didn't know about them for aeons. It doesn't specify how long, it says aeons. That's a long, long time before you guys were ever around. So just stop making all this noise, go to bed, brush your teeth, put on your pajamas, stay in bed, don't interrupt me in the middle of the night, I want a good night's sleep. It was then that the surviving Blood Angels made for the homeworld, Baal. Commander Dante sent out a call to all the successor chapters. Almost all of them replied. I wouldn't want to be the one who didn't reply, that would suck. Yes, I pronounce it Baal, not Ball. I think of Christian Bale Batman, I don't think of the basketball, I just pronounce it the way I do. You're gonna have to accept this in life. Even the able-bodied tribespeople on the planet were armed and dangerous. Commander Dante hoped it would be enough,
for when High Fleet Leviathan descended upon them, their ships obscured by the ruby-red stain of the Red Scar.
A flood of teeth and chitin poured toward the firing space marines as the air became a toxic soup of alien spores and caustic rain.
From the Eye of Terror to the Eastern Fringe, the Great Rift tore the galaxy asunder and mankind's realm was divided.
This is where chaos comes in. They inadvertently help the Blood Angels. They scare away the bugs. It's kind of like putting a blowtorch to a cup full of cockroaches. Baal itself didn't totally rid themselves of you guys. You still flooded the planet, technically. You were just without synapse, so you reverted to your bestial-like state. This wasn't just on Baal. This was actually every planet in the Baal system, including the eastern fringes of the Red Scar. So every single planet still teemed with Tyranids. Blood Angels were on the brink of extinction.
When they ran out of bolter shells and their knives were blunted, they fought with their hands and feet.
The mortal citizens fought too, as if they had nothing left to lose, and let's face it, they had nothing left to lose. Then seemingly out of nowhere, macro cannon shells stalled the advance of the Xenos, releasing wings of attack and countless dropships filled with Primaris Space Marines, helmed by this dude right here.
Guilliman, Gurlyman.
You know what? Lorgar doesn't like you very much, but in this case, you help out the Blood Angels, so I'll give you a pass. After everything was said and done, after the acceptance of the help of the Primaris Marines and the arcane technology used to create more Primaris Marines, except for Gabriel Seth, he had his reservations about you guys, but he eventually came around when his troops were really impressed. You go ahead and make Commander Dante Regent of the Imperium Nihilis. This is one of those cases where it's deeply humbling in its honor and extremely weighty in its magnitude. With this newfound power, Dante was certainly not afraid to use it. He gathers together the advisors and chapter masters and they create this plan called the Angel's Halo. It's not something physical, it's actually a plan that is set in motion to stage 3 spots to reclaim their sector of space. Eventually, Dante returned his chapter to fighting strength, and they made provisions to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
The Blood Angels tore towards the last major infestation of the Baal system, determined to eradicate the Tyranids.
Yet the aliens' loss of their hive ship had neither dulled their instincts nor their fangs. As Dante attacked the Tyranids in the Baal system, the flesh tears tore into the warp. Without hesitation, they reached the industrial planet of Echelon. There was a creeping psychic darkness here, but curiosity got the better of him. Through the massive hole in the roof of a giant tower, Gabriel Seth finds this massive psyker beast. This thing was draining astropaths to project its black will into the void. They eventually chainsaw its brain and kill it. That's enough of the fluff for now. Why don't we get into some of the goodies? Looking at the abilities, all Blood Angels gain these, except for Servitors. They're really just talking about one ability, Angels of Death. But Angels of Death has 4 abilities within it. Combat Doctrine, Shock Assault, Bolter Discipline, and one more, and they shall know no fear. That's the one. Savage Echoes. This one's kind of cool. You got to be battle forged, and you have to have the Combat Doctrine special ability. And you gain additional attack if you are charged. Perform a heroic intervention, and it also stacks with Shock Assault, so you can get +2 if those cases apply. Let's not forget the Red Thirst, but that's been there already. You get +1 to wound roll if you are charged. Perform a heroic intervention. Why do you got to say all the 3 all the time? There should be an acronym for this. Let's make an acronym for this. COCPHI, COCPHI. Warlord traits. Shoot and fade. You can actually advance after you shoot if you're within 6 of your Warlord, but you can't charge after you do so. So does Khorne actually want this? Lord of Deceit. At the start of the first battle round, choose 3 Blood Angels Phobos units, and you get to redeploy them. So that is very deceitful. I can see that, right? It's like, nope, that's not where I'm going. I'm going to place them somewhere else. Master of the Vanguard. Add an inch to your move. Add an inch to your advance and charge if you're within 6 inches of the Warlord. Meh. Stealth Adept. They try to hit the Warlord. It's -1 to hit. Do they think they're Alpha Legion? Because, you know what, they're the ones that I think of when I think of this stuff. But they can have a little bit of this too, I suppose. Target priority. The start of the shooting phase, within 3 inches of the Warlord, select the Blood Angels Phobos unit, and you say to one of the guys in the unit, you hit better. It's like a Stignum, Marksman's Honors. So if you were the Warlord, you would add 1 damage to your shooting attacks, unless it's a relic or a grenade. So don't use any of your grenades or relics, don't be cheating. My 2 favorite from this list is Shoot and Fade and Lord of Deceit. Now it's time to look at the Obscuration Discipline, so we can tell Mephiston some of the psychic abilities he may gain. Shrouding. Warp Charge 6. Pick a unit. You can only fire at it if it's the closest, or if you're firing Overwatch. Soul Sight. This as well is for Blood Angels Phobos. You pick a model in the unit, and you can reroll the hit roll. Also, the unit that it's firing at doesn't benefit from cover. Mind Raid. Warp Charge 6. You choose an enemy unit. If it has to be a character, then you can roll 3d6, and if it's greater than their leadership, then you gain a command point. Otherwise, the unit suffers a mortal wound. So it's kind of like a combination of a lesser smite and that stupid Tau stratagem that lets you regain stupid command points and the stupid rotten fish stupidness. Hallucination. Warp Charge 6 again. Pick an enemy unit. -1 to their leadership. Make them roll 2 dice. If it's more than their leadership, it's -1 to their hit rolls. Tenebrous Curse. Warp Charge 6 again. Pick a unit that cannot fly. Then you have its movement, and you also have its advance and charge rolls, rounding up. Temporal Corridor. This one is Warp Charge 7. You pick a friendly Phobos unit within 3 inches of the Psyker. Then you give them an extra movement and also advance. And you roll 3d6 for their advance. You take away 2 of the dice you don't like, but you can't use it on them more than once. Out of this list, we're going to tell Mephiston that Shrouding is the best one. At least that's what we feel, right? Not being able to target a unit unless they're the closest, that's a pretty big deal. The relics of Christian Bale, not the relics of basketball. The first is Decimator. So this one, 24-inch range, Assault 3, Strength 5, -2, 2 damage, and you don't get penalized for advancing and shooting. You can just shoot normally because that's its special ability. This is with an auto bolt rifle, and that's what you replace it with. It's not with every weapon, it has to be that one. And not just an auto bolt rifle, a master crafted one. This one's if you're a sanguinary ancient. At the start of movement phase, add 2 inches to friendly jump units that are Blood Angel. Biomantic Sarcophagus. This only works if you're one of these guys. Add 6 inches to your psychic abilities if you're from the sanguinary discipline. Plus you get to re-roll 1 of the 9 Witch dice. The Figure of Death. So this replaces a Crozius Arcanum with Strength +1, -2 AP, 2 damage. And also, if you wound a unit with this, then they are -2 leadership because they are terrified because you are the Figure of Death. Gleaming Pinions. Ha ha ha. This one's for jump pack only. You get to charge after you fall back and you add 1 to the move. Should we talk about the litanies of battle? Do we care about the chaplains? Well, we care about the chaplains, but do we care enough to say what they get? You know what, Defi, you're going to have to read that part on your own because I can't give you everything that's in the book. Thank you very much for listening to me tell Defi all the new things in the Psychic Awakening Blood of Baal book. Stay tuned for the battle that I'm going to have with Matt. That's going to be in the link in the video description below because it will be a vaulted bat rep. Yes, Matt is fielding his Tyranids. Yes, I'm fielding my Blood Angels. We're going to battle each other. We're going to duke it out. We haven't done this in a very long time because we like to remain friends.
As being able to create your own custom hive mind. The first one is called Metamorphic Regrowth. At the start of every one of my turns, every unit heals a wound. And the other one is Horror from Beyond, where all of my monsters have a 3-inch aura of -1 leadership. Lastly, for my bio artifact, I also dipped into the new ones from the Blood of Baal, and I went with the Venom Thorn Parasite on the Hive Tyrant. He has a heavy venom cannon, and what it does is it lets you fire always the maximum number of shots of a heavy venom cannon or stranglethorn cannon. And that's what it brought. Total of 9 command points with 1 already spent as I wanted to do the 2 adaptive physiologies. I'm hoping that the little extra psychic stuff that I've got, plus a little bit of fire.
I wanted those. I wanted to bring some Primaris Marines because I'm not used to bringing Primaris Marines. Mephiston is leading it because Mephiston is new. I know that map brought some psychic stuff, so I'm gonna see more of that on the tables. Maybe I can deny some of his abilities. And I also have a Lieutenant because I want to be able to do a little bit better with my wounds because Primaris are just overall better than regular tactical Marines. Right?